everyone, it's Shari here for SimonsStamp.com with a card inspiration for you using the WPlus9 Autumn Leaves stamp set, Heidi Swapp's Minc machine, and some silver foil. I love this stamp set and I've been wanting to try it for a technique I have in mind because it has the positive and negative leaves. So I wanted to do a little bit of watercoloring and some foiling together just to see how that would work out. To get things started for the foiling, I'm going to first stamp and white emboss these outlines of these leaves. I'm using my anti-static bag because I want to make sure I don't get any extra embossing powder onto the project. Otherwise the foiling will stick to that. So I'm just going to use my regular Versamark ink, or any watermark ink will work, and I'll tap that on several times. And I'm an over inker, so I'm just going to go ahead and tap this on a little bit more. So once I have that well inked, I'll go ahead and just stamp this on. It's clear, so you're not going to be able to see it until I do the embossing. But I'm going to go ahead and stamp several of my leaves, and I'm going to be going in a vertical pattern, plus I'll be adding a little leaf to the bottom. Once I have all my leaves stamped, I've just stamped them all together, and I'll be adding my white embossing powder all together. And to keep this in a tub, I'll just go ahead and spoon this right onto those leaves, and I'll tap off the excess. That way I can just go ahead and heat emboss everything at the same time. So I'll go ahead and grab my heat tool, and I do like to heat this up a little bit. A lot of times you'll see me kind of put it onto my hand just to get it started, to make sure it's hot, and then once it's hot I'll go ahead and emboss. Okay, now I'm ready to use my Minc machine. I have my leaves embossed, and I forgot to tell you that's on Tim Holtz watercolor paper. So I'm laying the silver foil on top and the shiny side sits up. And I'll be putting this right into the carrier sheet, and the foil covers the complete piece of watercolor paper, and then I'm putting a piece of paper on top so that it doesn't heat up that embossing powder too much. I have my Minc machine on, and I've put it on the setting of 1. Next, I'll feed this into the front, and you want to have the folded end going in first. So you just go ahead and feed it into the front, and then the machine will take it in and go ahead and it does a laminating, and so it puts that foil right to that embossing powder. So when this is all done, I'll go ahead and open this up. And this is my first time trying this, by the way. It's really super fun. And that sheet of paper is 65-pound weight paper. So I'll go ahead and pull that foil off and look at my leaves, and they are super shiny, and I really love this. So I'm going to be foiling a lot. I'm getting ready to do my watercolor, and I have my paper here and also my squirt bottle of water, and I'm just going to go ahead and spray this around those leaves, and this will give me an uneven coating of water, and I'm just going to let the ink flow. I'm not going to really do painting, like trying to paint these in perfectly. I kind of want the ink to flow around, so I'm pressing my little ink cubes onto a clear acrylic block, and I have a Dina Wakley paintbrush here. I'll go ahead and get this wet, and I'll start grabbing up some of this ink, and I'm just going to tap this on and let it run around. The colors I've chosen remind me of winter, so I'm not painting these in an autumn theme. I'm just painting them in kind of a winter theme. You could use any colors that you wanted, but what I'm using is iced spruce, pine needles, and evergreen bough. So I'm kind of mixing the colors in a little bit, and like I said, I'm letting them run around. And I'm pressing my paper down in the center. It's wanting to bow up a little bit. And I'm okay if the ink runs outside of the leaves. And I'll probably pick up some more water and kind of force it to run a little bit more. And that pine needles is a really strong color, so watch out for that one. So just tapping around, getting it really uneven, but making sure that I have all 3 colors of the inks in each of the leaves. If you don't happen to have the ink cubes, you could also use the larger ink pads or even the markers to try this. So I'm going to go ahead and let this air dry, and then I'll add some embellishments. To finish my card off, I have wrapped the bottom with the Tim Holtz trimmings, and it's a really nice silver trimming. I also added a die cut hello that's in slate cardstock from Simons Stamp. And then I layered everything together onto a smoke card, and also the panel is backed with another piece of slate cardstock. This was a really fun technique to try, and I'm glad that I experimented with it. I'll do it again for sure. So I hope I've given you some inspiration using the WPlus9 Autumn Leaves stamp set with some embossing and foiling and watercolor. And as always, thanks for watching.